Hey, this is Jorge from Oh So Fast Reviews. Today I'll be reviewing The 100, Season 5, Episode 13, Part 2 of the season finale, and holy crap, was this completely different than what I was expecting. Definitely wasn't expecting this to go off as it is. So real quick, I'm just going to do a quick breakdown of basically what happened in the episode. I'm going to give my theories on what I think is going to happen in Season 6. So yeah, let's just get kicked off. So this starts off basically right where part one left off. You kind of see one crew back at their camp from their retreat. You just see so many people getting hurt and all this. Bellamy and Echo kind of have a quick moment there. Definitely not as magical as I wanted it to be. The part that I did find crazy was when Maddie popped up instantly, everyone just kind of froze. And you even, heard people calling her head of. So it's as if instantly they knew. You kind of get this quick sense when Octavia kind of noticed that and she starts coming towards. I loved how Bellamy and Echo just kind of blocked her for a second, and Maddie just straight up tells them let her pass, and obviously they obliged. Octavia giving her the sword I thought was such a critical part and such a change in this whole Blood Reina kind of character that she's had. It's almost like passing the torch. So definitely Octavia, I feel, is going to be moving forward a lot more humanized, which I'm definitely looking towards. But once she hands her the sword, I thought it was so symbolic how everyone just bowed down, kind of acknowledging that Maddie is their new, queen, basically, their new commander and leader. You kind of flip real quick. Bellamy and Indra trying to kind of get everything together. All the leaders, like the war leaders, the army guys, they're all ready to fight, and they couldn't find Maddie. And then you see Bellamy and Indra give Maddie a pep talk. What I thought was very interesting was how Guy, even though she was, really hurt and all this, and possible of like losing her leg, I thought it was very interesting how she kind of still coached Maddie even to the very end. So definitely very cool on that part. And then with Maddie concentrating, she was able to kind of get this game plan from all the previous commanders. So we kind of get to even see how the fire inside her actually works, which I thought was kind of neat. Um, Found it super interesting how it jumps back into the scene and you kind of see McCreary playing, dentist on Shaw's mouth, which was insane. I definitely thought it was crazy how they were both, kind of holding out throughout that whole thing. And then he pulls out this freaking vice clamp. I've never even seen something like this, and starts like crushing his leg. And I did not expect Raven to crack, but seeing her crack, that was just so sad. From there, Raven obviously tells him, "Hey, I'll get the plane up in the air, no big deal." Clark then instantly, you kind of see her going back towards Dio's. I guess she tricked the guardsman to kind of let her in because she needed medicine for the baby. I thought it was wild how she just like pistol whipped her. And then from there, basically her and Dioza have this quick little 1-2. What I thought was hilarious was when Dioza tells Clark, it's hard to keep track of what side you're on. And then, that whole thing happens, and it was funny because both of them have switched so much, this season. Um, and then from there, Clark just playing all the right moves because obviously McCreary doesn't care for Dioza at all. So when they're in there, she basically is like, I have to save my daughter. Will you save yours? And puts the gun on Dioza's stomach. So I thought that was such a crazy move. Um, from there, you kind of see that Clark has is kind of back in charge, kind of the Clark that we know. Then we jump back and we're in the war, and we're kind of seeing Maddie's plan play through. They're basically charging with the rover just straight through, and then obviously it gets hit in the engine, and you kind of see them doing kind of playing out their plan, which was to destroy those, I don't even know what to call them, like land cannons, I guess, like supersonic boom type cannons. Um, but you freaking see Echo just like whipping her arrow around, just knocking stuff out, which I thought was dope. Murphy takes the helm once the rover is down. Murphy jumps in, starts shooting the machine gun. Next thing you see is he gets shot twice, which I thought was crazy. But then finally they were able to, from there they were able to just kind of play out the plan because Murphy kind of gave Bellamy some cover and Echo. They were able to take out the other kind of land cannon, so I thought that was awesome. Then you kind of see this moment which I completely loved with Octavia kind of looking at Maddie and Maddie looking at her, and Octavia basically tells Maddie, time to take us home, which I thought was incredible. From there, though, you jump back to the ship, and freaking McCrary just drops the bomb from space. And he uses a phrase. How did it go? He goes, "If I can't have it, no one will," which I thought was insane. Because at that point, you're kind of, it almost reminds me of when Kane first kind of double crossed one crew, and he says, I rather have a monster in here than the devil. But I mean, obviously that backfired. And then once Clark and Dios and everybody kind of realize what happened, uh, she kind of signals to Shaw, which I thought was interesting, and basically shocks Raven, but gets Raven to jump on McCreary. So he freaking shocks, he gets shocked, he gets down, and then Shaw straight up kills like 3 or 4 people. I thought that was crazy. From here, you kind of see one crew just kind of taking over that one, I guess, level of militia that was there. The part that threw me off was Maddie giving the kill signal so quickly. But then Bellamy kind of had this heart to heart with her. Thought that was intense, basically telling them not to kill them. But at the same time, he said, you're the commander now. It's up to you, but we can do better. From there, you kind of see like all this chaotic scene of, the ship has to take off, obviously, because this bomb is dropping, and everyone is kind of going there. Murphy in the forest just can't make it anymore, and he gets put down. But Monty, I mean, he's like the unsung hero of this season. He just sacrifices himself in a way and just takes Murphy on his back and just goes. Then you kind of get this great scene of Maddie and Clark kind of clinching, and it's just a joyful scene. At this point, I thought it was, very interesting. You kind of see a flash of Abby working on Kane. This whole time, which I thought was interesting, I think it was almost like 20 minutes into the show or 25 minutes, and you see nothing about Abby and Kane. So I thought that was interesting. But then when you see Octavia come in, that was the moment that I legit thought that Octavia was going to just flip completely and, straight up kill Abby, kill Kane, the whole 9 yards. But they kind of have this crazy chat, and even Octavia tells Abby, that it's basically her fault in a way, like eat or die. That was what she said. So I thought that was wild. So now at this point, they kind of flash back, and you see all these people kind of going into the ship and all this, and Bellamy's kind of having this one-to-one chat with Maddie about, just how he feels and how we can do better and all this. Maddie tells him how Clark basically called him every day that she was on the ground. And I think that was almost like a light bulb clicking for Bellamy, kind of reminding him of that Clark's not really the bad guy, even though she left him. This whole time, though, I'm thinking, where the heck is Monty? Where's Murphy? Where's Abby? Where's Octavia? Like, and where's Kane? Like, this is crazy. This ending had me going. Clark is telling him at this point, like, I have to close the door. You know, the bomb's about to hit. And Bellamy just has this moment where he's just telling them, I'm not leaving my friends. You know, like there's nothing that you can do or say that I'm leaving, which shows his character completely. You know, instead of being about survival, he's thinking about other people, which I found great. Um, and all of a sudden, you know, everyone makes it. Like you just see Monty, Murphy, Abby, Octavia, and even Kane. You know, everyone made it, which was insane. And then the bomb freaking hits, but everyone is safe. This is the part that threw me off because I thought this was going to be the end of the episode. And we still had another like 20 minutes more to go, which was phenomenal because I thought that was going to be the cliffhanger, which wouldn't surprise me, but I love that they did a lot more. So from there, you kind of go and you kind of see this larger ship. You see people everywhere, just you know, throughout the hallways and all this. Bellamy finds Clark. They kind of have a little chat to chat. She informs him, you know, that Murphy's gonna live, so that is awesome because I'm a huge Murphy fan. She says that Guy's gonna keep her leg, so that's also cool, and that Kane is in some drug-induced coma. And then at that point, you know, Bellamy kind of says, "Well, what if he doesn't need this, like the drugs that we're waiting for? Like, what if we just put him in cryo?" And that's when Clark was like, "That's a brilliant idea." From there, you kind of see them walking away, and Bellamy kind of has this eye to eye contact with Octavia, and I thought they were gonna chat there, and just kind of walks away. From there, you see Dioza come out, which I thought was a funny line, but basically says, you know, that she wasn't invited either. And then they, you know, Dioza and Octavia kind of have this heart to heart, which I thought was real interesting about telling her mistake. And Octavia, of course, thought that it wasn't killing her. And Dioza kind of smirks a little bit and was like, "Yeah, that's one," but she said that she liked power too much, and that was her mistake as well. So it was kind of neat, kind of seeing how Dioza and Octavia have kind of changed throughout this season, you know. Um, and Octavia says this one word, which or this one phrase, which I thought was cool. It was one garden, two serpents. Eden never stood a chance, which I thought was so true. You know, if you think about it, especially if you go back to like the whole Adam and Eve thing and the serpent. You know, just one serpent ended that whole thing, but now having, you know, two serpents in there, so definitely thought that was cool. I love that they all basically decided to go to cryo. They definitely had enough pods there. So you know, definitely, I think everyone this season knew that cryo was coming. So I thought that was an interesting take. From there, you know, Clark and Maddie kind of have their little moments. Maddie definitely, you can tell, is a little scared about this whole cryo thing. I do wonder what's gonna happen with Maddie and cryo because when she sleeps is when kind of the commanders talk to her. So I do wonder what happens. Then you see Octavia and Bellamy have their moment, and I thought it was so sweet. You know, kind of how Octavia kind of needed that reaffirming, you know, wording from Bellamy, like that he still loved her. And I like the way he phrased it. He said like, "You're my sister. A part of me will always love you." And then she kind of makes a snarky remark, and you know, it's kind of like, does the other part still wish I was dead? And he's kind of like, "Yeah." From there, you kind of move on, and you know, you think that it's, you know, a couple years later, and Clark's pod opens up, and in my mind, I was thinking, "Holy crap, they're doing the time jump already," which is insane because I thought it was, you know, I thought it was gonna be a little bit longer than that. And then Bellamy's pods open, and I thought that was wild. Um, and then you see this new character come up, and you know, Clark and Bellamy are kind of a little shocked, and this new guy comes up, and all of a sudden, you know, he's like trying to introduce himself, and he's like, "I'm Jordan," and he goes, "That's the way mom and dad would have wanted it," which I thought was wild because that means that Monty and Harper, you know, had a son, and we find out that they never went to sleep, and you know, from there it just gets insanely crazy. From there, you know, you kind of go through this whole whole video montage, and you know, Jordan is, you know, told him, you know, this is what, you know, my mom and dad told me to do. And they ask how long they've been asleep for, and he tells them 125 years. So that's just like like 125 years pass, which is crazy. So Monty and Harper have left this long video message to Clark and Bellamy. We find out that, obviously, their son's name is Jordan Jasper. So I thought that was insane. The whole video message was crazy. Harper ends up dying in that video message, which, I guess is kind of expected in that. But in my head, I'm thinking, why didn't they just go into cryo and, maybe every 5 years wake up, or every 3 years wake up and then go back into cryo? I definitely thought, old man Monty at the very end was, it was just sad kind of seeing him talk through these final little bits and just letting them know, like, hey, there is absolutely nothing in the world, but, we were able to find this new planet. So they end up, finding this new planet. So that is insane. He ends with saying, be the good guys, and may we meet again. So, and that's where the cliffhanger happens, basically. I do like how at the end it says, end of book one. In case you guys don't know, this is part of a book series. But so this episode obviously was phenomenal. Anytime you can watch one of these shows and halfway through you think it's going to end with the cliffhanger, but you still got so much more time to go, is phenomenal. So season 6, what's going to happen? I definitely think that when they get there, because of the way this show is, I think there's the other cruise ship is going to end up being there. I forgot the name of the other cruise ship off the top of my head. If you know, please tell me in the comments below, just so I can know myself. But I found it so crazy how, they found this new planet, 2 moons. It'll definitely be very, very spacey, I guess is the nicest way I can put it. I wonder how much they're gonna kind of push this sci-fi environment, and how everything's gonna look. I did find it a little disappointing, and this is, I know, very sadistic, I guess, to think, but if you think about it, really no one died other than Monty and Harper, which I thought was crazy because we have no idea as to what happened to McCreary. Because I think you don't know if Clark shot him or what they did. For all we know, he could be in jail, or they could have put him in cryo. So that's going to be an interesting kind of tidbit to see what happened with him. Once they get to this new planet, it's going to be very interesting to see how everything plays out and how everyone interacts, if the planet's even, how it all works out, basically, I guess is the nicest way I can put it. And it will be interesting, and I kind of hope it doesn't happen, but that you don't get another one of these, season 5, where another crew ends up coming from space and all that. Hopefully they don't involve aliens in it, because I still like the believable aspect of this whole thing. But yeah, so far, I'll probably in a week or so, because I know this whole thing comes out on Netflix. I believe it's on the 15th, so I'll probably binge through it again. And from there, kind of try to figure out what more theories I have for season 6. But for now, it'll just be interesting. But so far, season 5 has been phenomenal. It ended on such a high note. Still not a fan of Abby. Bellamy and Monty, I think, were the stars of this season. Maddie was also, incredibly well. I thought it was great how this whole season they kind of focused around Octavia and kind of her struggles between, like Blood Rain and Octavia, and how, that kind of overtook her body, and all that. But overall, this season was great. I personally loved it. Definitely want to hear what you guys think about this episode. What theories do you guys have? Definitely looking forward to this coming out. I think season 6, I believe, comes out in the spring of next year. Not 100% sure, so I know it'll be a long time coming, a long, 6-7 months. But if it's anywhere as good as this season, I'm so excited. So CW, keep up the good work. But other than that, that's all I got for now. I may do another video in the next coming week or so, like I said, after I view everything, just to kind of give more teasers into it, because now that I've seen everything and I know how everything kind of plays out, I can kind of pay attention to the non-speakable stuff that happened. But other than that, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will definitely be seeing you guys next season. So all my 100 fans, I will see you in a couple months, and definitely stay tuned on the channel because I'll be adding more content and more shows as they come along. But that's it. That's all I got for today, guys. Have a good one.